What's up, guys, and welcome back to the MPGL qualifiers for Season 7. It's another best of one. First Departure are going to potentially be continuing their run, this time going up against Can't Say Wisps. And I don't believe these two have actually run into each other yet. No, they came from opposite ends of the bracket. So first time they're going to be running into each other. We'll see how they are going to be forming. Winner goes up against 5 Eva in a best of 3 right after this game to decide who's ultimately going to qualify. But for right now, we have just a best of 1. I'm Mikelorus, got Grandisv here as well. And once again, man, we see this Beastmaster first ban.
Yeah, he has been seeing a lot more play inside the C scene, but I think the first ban Beastmaster is probably more warranted against Can't Say Whips than other teams. I've actually seen them first pick it up, so I'm gonna say this is an alright ban, but it is going to leave in a lot of very scary heroes in the pool. Can't Say Whips are now faced with a pretty difficult banning choice. Against First Departure, there's a lot of good supports left in the pool, and more surprisingly, probably, is that Troll and Axe haven't been banned. One of those heroes is going to be left through no matter what. In fact, Troll has managed to poke his ugly head into this draft, and he is going to be first picked by First Departure.
It was either Troll Warlord that was going to be first picked, or that Bat Rider. I think that's what Can't Say Wisps. Is that why they named themselves that? Because I just can't say it? I don't know, but that's what they were kind of gambling on. They are going to leave Troll Warlord in the pool, ban out the Vengeful Spirit to make it really appealing for FD to grab that Bat Rider. But for FD, they stick to their guns, grab the Troll Warlord. Probably most people would agree the strongest hero in Dota right now. But this is going to open up CSW to grab both the Bat Rider with no Vengeful Spirit to worry about, as well as that Chen.
And they do love running their Chen. It's going to offer them a decent amount of early aggression that will come out. Once Bat Rider gets his Blink Dagger and Chen gets his mech, the potential to put pressure before Troll Warlord fully gets online. And as far as heroes that can deal with Troll, Bat's a pretty good one. Just being able to isolate him away from the enemy team where he can focus him down. Although right now they don't have the greatest amount of damage, there's still plenty of a draft for them to remedy that fact. Even though Troll is a very strong hero, don't get me wrong, he's not without his weaknesses, and he can be kited around pretty easily.
FD grab a fairly early Rubik as well. This hero usually is left in through the entirety of the draft stage, but FD heavily prioritizing that Rubik and his ability to instantly shut down the Bat Rider in his lasso, or at least slow him down. You grab him, you pull him back a little bit, you could even kill him off, and at the very least your ally isn't going to get dragged out. A couple of good spells to steal from Chen, but they actually then ban out the Leshrac. We just saw them running this in the last game. Not too sure how great that would be for CSW. I guess the pushing is kind of dangerous, but come on, what are the odds of us seeing 2 Leshracs in one day?
5 seconds.
The odds are probably better than most days, I suppose. It is a Can't Say Whips hero. They do love the Leshrac, and every once in a while do pick it up. I do think that the Rubik is probably there just for the instant disable against the Bat. Right now, nothing too great to steal. If you can get your hands on Flaming Lasso, it's alright, but usually not until you get Blink and Force Staff can you actually make use of that. And Chen's kit is pretty mediocre to steal as well. You're probably not going to get your hands on Persuasion. Although a Hand of God might be able to turn a fight, it probably is just for that telekinesis. But if it is, why not go for something along the lines of the Earthshaker?
Or the Lion, I would say. I think most people would say those heroes are probably better than Rubik overall. Like Rubik as a response like an Enigma or something where you're guaranteed an amazing spell steal. Yeah, that can have a higher upside than the likes of Lion, but Lion is a hero that really First Departure are going to wish they had right about now as CSW grab the Storm Spirit. Their initiating power is off the freaking charts, man, and that's where Troll Warlord is going to be at the mercy of CSW's initiation with Storm and Bat Rider being able to jump in, and with only so far a Rubik as a guaranteed disable, no Global Silence either, silencer banned out. This is potentially looking like a tough matchup for FD already.
10 seconds.
Yeah, very well could be. Right now, Can't Say Whip's initiation power is through the roof, and Rubik, his telekinesis is nice, but it's by no means enough to lock down the Storm. Lion, since it's still in the pool, I think should be prioritized here by First Departure. Even though it's not as good at locking down Chen's creeps and what have you, they just need ways to deal with the Storm. If they are going to go for something a little bit more disruptive to the Chen, a Witch Doctor also wouldn't be a bad pick.
Bounty Hunter though, for First Departure.
Team pick.
Been seeing a lot of C9 run the Bounty Hunter in that 4-position roam role. I don't think I've actually seen anyone else do it. say if you have, but this Bounty Hunter might just be the weird thing that we see from First Departure. Past 2 games have been First Departure running with some weird stuff. Got the Death Prophet in the first game that we saw of them, or I saw of them today. Then the Leshrac in the last one. Bounty Hunter for a very aggressive roaming role?
10 seconds remaining.
I suppose so. I honestly don't see another reason to pick him up this early and at all, really. Up against a Chen, he can be very disruptive inside the jungle, roaming around inside Invis, stealing a couple CS here and there, and slowing down the Chen's farm is always something nice to have at your disposal. But this is going to leave First Departure very lockdown light when it comes to their supporting duo, and they're definitely going to need to make up for that fact in a couple other of their picks. I'm not sure if this is the time that they should be picking up the roaming bounty or anti-jungle bounty.
Yeah, it is nice to have that anti-jungle, like a hero that could just leech experience from Chen's farm, keep tabs on him, make sure that none of your lanes get surprised ganked by a Chen. Could be pretty darn dangerous, but as you said, you could pick up a Bounty Hunter 5th pick. He's pretty much never picked, and well, if he is going to be picked or banned, it's because you have set a track record for that Bounty Hunter. So First Departure probably not worrying about that, but should worry about the fact that there's a Storm Spear and a Bat Rider, 2 heroes who are so deadly once they grab either a gem or dust, really any sort of true sight. There's nothing the Bounty Hunter can really do once the dust has been popped and Storm Spirit is right on top of him. He can't turn and fight, he can't escape, he just dies. And then CSW grab a Luna. I haven't seen a Luna actually in a really long time, so nice refreshing change of pace, and they have a great shell with which to protect that Luna. Initiation, power galore, but also the Chen as backup. This might be a great game for the hero.
Broodmother going to pick up for First Departure. At the moment, their heroes kind of work on islands from each other. They don't really interact. Bounty Hunter, although once he gets level 6 and maybe some momentum, can start looking for kills. First Departure aren't ever going to be in a situation where they can take a 5v5 fight or even small skirmishes against Kansei Whips on their own terms at the very least. They need some great way to counter-initiate, and right now I'm not really feeling it. They have the telekinesis, but that's about it. Getting Broodmother and Bounty Hunter in the same draft just feels kind of wonky to me. They take up a lot of space, and even though they can make a decent amount by themselves, Kansei Whip's ability to group up, look for early pushes and early fights is really scary, I want to say. Their lineup is just gelling a lot better for me.
Yeah, First Departure needs some sort of early mid-game heavy hitter, and by heavy I mean really heavy, if they're going to have any sort of chance. It's nice to have, I guess, heroes that demand Kansei Whips to buy this true sight up against a Bounty and a Brood. They're going to need to buy an awful lot of it, but that also means that these heroes aren't going to be consistently getting away with their invisible shenanigans, because odds are the Storm Spirit or Bat Rider, once they grab level 6 or their Blinks, or I guess level 6 and Blink for Bat Rider, then the invisibility from FD is going to be pretty darn useless. I guess Kansei Whips don't have like the most AoE to deal with the Broodmother push, and that's something that might be kind of nice for First Departure right now. But yeah, it just seems like all the heroes are going to be operating on a 1v enemy basis, and that's not really how a team game like Dota is supposed to work. Like Broodmother usually just does her own thing. Bounty Hunter is a very heavy roamer, will help out occasionally, but his contributions to the team more so involve his allies. Like, he's there to get the experience and gold from track, but he doesn't actually do that much by himself.
Yeah, pretty much sums it all up. Kansei Whips are lacking their last support, and as far as what's in the pool, Lion's looking pretty good, although he could be squishy and hunted perpetually by the Bounty Hunter Broodmother, and maybe they look for something different because of it. What's there? Venomancer is actually going to pick up for Kansei Whips. It's going to offer them a little bit more pushing power, although Lockdown Light, the slow is going to be very annoying for Chor Warlord to deal with, and I think it's a reasonable pick too.
Yeah, I could see it going, without this Venomancer pick, I could see it going 2 ways for Kansei Whips. They either grab a pushing-oriented support like this Venomancer, and then just stay to their own strategy, or they grab some sort of AoE support, like anyone that support with an AoE skill, and then try to shut down the First Departure strategy. Venomancer is definitely a lot more so in the first camp than in the second, but if we take a look at Kansei Whip's early game push, it's pretty darn high. Like Venomancer, Chen, they're going to have a ring of Basilius or Aquila on one of these heroes. They can get early mech, early auras, And then with the Chen creeps and Venomancer, that in of itself is a dangerous push, not to mention the Luna as the extra damage engine and Storm Spirit Batrider to potentially aid. And to compound that threat even further, First Departure have no heroes that really want to be fighting that early. So this is a game where I could see Kansei Whips getting away with, 3 or 4 very early tower pushes and then just snowballing that into the rest of the game.
The pick I would have really liked to see for Kansei Whips would have been a Jakiro for them, because it kind of fills both of those roles. But they were running really low on reserve time, and maybe they're just more comfortable with the Venomancer. Either way, that's not going to be an option. Last pick for First Departure is going to be a Magnus. Again, I just don't really see their lineup working together. You have an RP, but the follow-up for RP is very limited. Their AoE damage is non-existent in Power Troll, but that's about it. And I don't know, it takes a lot to get them online, but that said, if they do get online, they can do so in a very strong way. Troll Lord farms incredibly fast, as does Broodmother, and with the extra infusion of Track Gold, maybe they can get over the hump, but it's going to be very hard to. Kansei Whips, they have a really nice self-contained draft, and even though they are very early game oriented, I'm not sure they're going to be too worried about taking this late either, as it's pretty much just a solo core troll against the Storm Spirit Luna.
And that is pretty darn dangerous for the Troll Warlord, especially since Batrider is also on the CSW side for that additional guaranteed, almost guaranteed disable. Really, I think the flaw in First Departure's draft is that they are 100% reliant on getting pickoffs. Like, that is how their team actually functions. That's how Bounty Hunter usually functions, and I guess the rest of the heroes are also falling in line with that. But for CSW, with such a deathball-y type of strategy with the Venomancer, Chen, and Luna, the odds of one of them getting picked off without the others being around is so astronomically low. Like, you can't run into just one of these heroes because they will always have backup with each other. And if you do run into one of these heroes, odds are it's going to be the Storm Spirit, and he doesn't really care because he'll just bottle lightning away. So I think by every right, I gotta favor CSW. I feel like their draft just is almost completely countering what First Departure are bringing to the table right now.
Well, to introduce that Kansei Whips draft, it's going to be 2D playing in the Batrider, currently up in the top lane, but I'd expect these to shuffle around a little bit. Storm Spirit's going to be played by Wedding Crash Godot on the Chen, Venomancer, our other support, played by 343, and Luna, last but not least, by Chains.
And for the First Departure side, they're going to put Kai on the Troll Warlord, looking to maybe put him in the safe lane, with Magnus being handled by Awa over in mid. Lubby is going to be playing the Rubik support. Right now, Angie is also supporting as the Bounty Hunter, although roaming Bounty Hunter, I don't know if I would call that a support necessarily. He's going to be on anti-Chen duty. Freedom is going to be handling the last hero. It's the Broodmother with the scariest cosmetic of all time, and that rounds out First Departure. We'll see how well Angie is able to block out these camps. Take a quick true sight check for Kansei Whips. They have a set of sentries, so they might be able to unlock these camps. And if they don't, the Chen is already kind of positioned to go towards the bottom lane, so maybe some offensive jungling is in order.
Yeah, if the enemy team focuses so much in blocking your camps and keeping control of your woods, why not go into theirs? Honestly, I don't think First Departure are equipped in any way, shape, or form to stop a Chen from aggressively jungling. Rubik and Bounty Hunter as a supporting duo lacks lockdown and damage. Honestly, they really don't do much until they get level 6.
Yeah, and even then, they could always just deward their jungle. It's nice to have that backup farm for Chudi. If the Batrider is, in fact, in the safe lane, he's probably not going to have to go to the jungle, but having that option available to you, always better than not having it. CSW, they are kind of positioned in such a way that would indicate that they're going for this offensive tri-lane. And as you said, Kai, he's most likely not going to get that much use out of his supports, so 3v1... that seems like pretty good odds, even if one of the three is that Chen. So maybe more like 2.5 versus 1. But even Luna Venomancer versus Troll is a fantastic lane for the Luna and Veno.
Yeah, I don't think there's really going to be any trade-off for CSW that's going to be bad there. Unless the Luna gets completely out of position, which, in all honesty, she shouldn't, being so fast as that hero is. They should be able to just get farm, and even if they're not actively killing off the troll or getting kills on the Bounty or Rubik, they'll still be putting pressure that normally isn't applied. Although this might give some space to the Broodmother, I don't expect there to have been much pressure applied to Freedom either when it comes to zoning him out of experience range. Bounty Rune down towards bottom, going to be set upon by Wedding Crash, and it looks like he's going to secure it. Although the bounty is close by, looks like he doesn't want to risk the fact that there may or may not be a sentry there.
Wedding Crash sitting right on top of it. I don't know if you could actually grab that as Bounty Hunter, since you'll most likely just issue an attack command, and then you're going to be in for a whole world of hurt. He's going to run to Godot for right now, but aside from trading hits, which he will get away with, more base damage, more armor, that's about all the Bounty Hunter can do right now. So we'll see how much Angie actually gets done. I'm going to be keeping my eye on the Bounty to see if he actually does anything in this game, because that's one of the problems with a roaming Bounty Hunter. Though he can get off to a very nice start, he can also get off to a start where he literally does nothing. And that's not really great when you have a hero that literally does nothing.
In the end, these lanes shake down to probably what most people would expect based off of the draft. Although not in the position you would. Luna's going to be in the aggressive lane, but it's up against the Broodmother. They'll just solo safe lane this one up. And a similar story for 2D on the Batrider.
Well, Chains is going to be fine versus Freedom. Like, this isn't the best lane for Luna. She does have a nice damage advantage for right now, but eventually, once this Broodmother grabs a Soul Ring, and it is very quickly incoming, grabbing the recipe to start things off for Freedom, then Chains is going to be on the receiving end of nuke after nuke after nuke. And there's not much you could do about that as Luna. You're not going to be going for Tranquils, most likely. I mean, he had the ring protection, but it's now into a Basilius. He can go for lifesteal, and it looks like because of that, they're going to decide to swap up these lanes. Batrider has a TP, Luna has a TP as well. They've already roamed up there with the Chen and the Venno. It's full defensive right now, and now this is a 3v2 lane of CSW versus Kai and Lubby, and that's still going to be in favor of them. However, they were slowed down a little bit because they did have to spend 200 on TPs.
Yeah, the musical lanes are going to favor First Departure, as they do get a little bit of an advantage when it comes to last hits and that lapse of not having people inside the lane actively. Mid lane matchup, Magnus versus Storm Spirit, for the time being and probably for a long time, is pretty even, and for all intents and purposes probably isn't very interesting to watch. The Bounty Hunter has managed to find himself a little bit of experience and has slowed down Godot a tad, but nothing too significant.
If you pick a hero just for sharing experience with the enemy jungler, that is probably going to be better if you grab a Lich, quite honestly. Like, essentially does something similar. He did block a camp spawn, which is nice, I guess, but really this stack of creeps for CSW doesn't really make that much of a difference in how they play out this lane. They're going to have a creep there, and Hellbear is a pretty reasonable one to have as well. So up in this top lane, this Troll Warlord is now under a hell of a lot of pressure. He's going to throw his Whirling Axes when he can, maybe grab a couple CS with it, but they're going to actually swap the lanes again. As Kai goes down towards the bottom, is Broodmother going to go towards top? She will. Will the musical lanes ever end? I don't know.
This is actually a pretty big move for the Broodmother, though. She'd already set up 2 nets down towards bottom lane, and only has 1 to work with for the foreseeable future. The cooldown isn't there yet, so this is actually going to slow down Freedom by quite a bit. But still, First Departure getting farm on 3 cores, whereas I can't say whips are only getting farm on 2. So in that sense, it's an advantage for First Departure, and well, they'll be happy because of it.
Yeah, and so now this is like, it almost landed on exactly what people would expect for these lanes. Like, Chains going up against the Broodmother, still the same thing applies. He's going to get nuked over and over again, but at least he's close to his tower. So the Broodmother, though she may be able to bring the Luna low, will have to dive a tower. What?
Hold that. Chains TP's down towards bottom. Musical lanes continue.
But now the Broodmother's already set up here, and Chains is going to be in the off lane. How much? That's like 400, 500 gold spent on TPs just to shuffle lanes so far. At a certain point, it's just not worth it, man.
Yeah, it's getting to that point very shortly. Down towards bottom rune spot, they're going to secure a bounty rune for the Storm Spirit, and well, he'll be happy because of it. And Venomancer and Chen are close by, but yeah, I honestly have no idea. At what point do you call it quits? But still, it's not stopping Chains from farming. It's also not stopping First Departure from farming. Right now, it's a pretty even laning stage. FD are getting slightly more gold.
Let's just call it all a wash, I suppose. Godot's level 2, Bounty Hunter's still sitting at that sad level 1 mark. And over towards mid, the Mag and Storm Spirit matchup is continuing on pretty much as expected. Mag with a slight CS lead, maybe a little bit unexpected, but 4 CS isn't really going to make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. So I guess the mid lane heroes are the real winners here, since compared to their side lane counterparts, they're actually going to have stuff because they didn't have to constantly spend hundreds and hundreds of gold on TP scrolls.
Batrider is slowed down a little bit, however, since he does have a Chen inside his woods. He doesn't have stacks to fall back onto, and he's also up against the Broodmother. He's buying himself Bottle as well as Dust, but this is going to delay 2D's Blink Dagger by quite a bit, and he's also under some amount of pressure if Freedom has a Spider Army. A Spider Army is pretty large at the moment, but it's currently getting the creep wave instead of actively threatening 2D.
And though Batrider does have quite a bit of AoE skills, they're not exactly the skills that you want to have versus a Broodmother, because the Spiderlings just run away, and then your Firefly is completely useless and you look like a fool. So the Batrider is not able to very easily clean out these Spiderlings. That is one of the weaknesses of the draft we mentioned previously. 2D now in a little bit of trouble, actually. Spiderling army is committed. Firefly is up. Freedom there with the nuke, though. Dust is there, plus the Gale. 343 coming in just in time to save his Batrider. And with the Storm Spirit coming in as well, it's going to be first blood drawn by Wedding Crash, as Can't Say Whips draw it very, very close. But you know what? They get the first blood anyway on the Broodmother, no less. So pretty nice kill for them.
And for their Storm, honestly, I think that's about as good as it gets for Can't Say Whips. Maybe you kill off the Troll instead, but really that's super nice for them. That's going to propel Storm Spirit up to level 7 in a bit. He's overtaken the Magnus by a full level, and also now has 1200 gold for whatever item he wants to be going for. Really, this is the first major advantage that CSW have been able to find themselves, and I don't think it really stops here. Although the Batrider does have a long road to recover back in this game to where he can become relevant. It's not going to be a fast Blink Dagger by any means. I'd expect somewhere around 12 to 13 minutes, and that's completely reasonable.
He's going to get jumped once again by the Spiders. He'll be just fine because of his Firefly. It was also crucial there that Godot got a little bit of experience, and 343 also got some EXP out of that. Venomancer with only 1 point in Plague Ward. It's actually a really bad skill. Like for vision it's nice and everything, but they don't actually do that much. He's going to prioritize that as the team is trying to set up for a Death Ball play in just a little bit, but that Death Ball would have been a lot slower should these two supports not have gotten that additional experience points. So it's a pretty nice kill in all sense of the words for Can't Say Whips. And for First Departure, I mean, they are still not going to have to deal with this Death Ball just yet, and by slowing down this Batrider's Blink, they might not have to deal with it for a little while longer. But over towards top, Wedding Crash is going to be revealed by an army of Spiderlings, and his attempt at ganking the Broodmother is once again going to fail.
How many spiders does it have to be to make it worth popping Dust for it?
9, right? It's 180 gold for Dust. You get 10, probably 10. Oh, he's gonna find. Well, okay, he's gonna find Angie now. That's worth it. How many spiders? Yeah. Well, I don't know, but 1 bounty hunter. That's worth. Oh, and mid lane also AWA trying to go for 343. Dove way too deep. He's gonna turn around for an RP to save himself, but the poison damage. Oh, it's gonna cancel the regen rune. There's a courier here as well, but Luna coming in from the side with a beam will kill off the mag. That's 2 kills for CSW. That should only have been 1.
Poison Sting works on couriers and actually does slow it down. I did not know it, but either way, learn something new every day. Still big wins for CSW all around. Luna notching herself a kill. They find the bounty hunter, and really things are starting to pick up for them. The Chen, left alone inside the woods, has managed to find himself quite a bit, although Godot's now going to be dropped down to very low HP by that Spider army. It's very easy to underestimate how much damage those things can do, especially when they stack up all on top of each other. It's really hard to tell how many there actually are, but that was about 12 spiders, and well, Chen almost dies because of it. If Broodmother herself was there, just 1 spawn Spiderlings would have been enough.
Yeah, but Godot does survive, and he is still level 5, so closing in on Hand to God, but more importantly, getting these additional points in Holy Persuasion. So the Chen army, though it is being slowed down by Freedom's persistent counter jungling, is eventually going to be built up, and eventually this Death Ball is going to be coming. Taking a quick look at the Luna, been kind of ignoring her as of late. She's been having a kind of rough time going up against the Troll Warlord in lane, but she has the Ring of Aquila up, and that's what's important. She also is seemingly holding gold, maybe Midas, maybe Helm the Dominator. Either way, Chains is going to be one way or another accelerating his farm. Maybe just upgraded boots, but he's going to get help from 343 and Godot. They have the Gale and Beam to close in for the Centaur and Hellbear to land their stuns. Will it actually catch the Troll? Well, the Troll's nowhere nearby, so it seems like the answer is no.
I want to say Hand of Midas is going to be the item for the Luna, as if she was going for a helm, you might as well pick up the Helm of Iron Will or the Morbid Mask over in the side shop. I don't think there's any reason to hold on to that gold. The smoke coming out from the Venomancer and the Chen, going to look for a long wraparound. As far as the ganking creeps are concerned, these are pretty good, with a Centaur as well as a Hellbear. Can they connect onto the Troll? However, they block him off with the Venomancer. This Stomp is going to be on the mark. It was pump fake the first time, and now they have the Clap to slow him as well with the damage from the creeps, as well as one loosened beam from the Luna. This should be more than enough to kill off Kai, and it will. Chen gets the last hit there. Very slick Plague Ward, placed down by the Venomancer.
A very unique effect as well. There are not many heroes in the game of Dota that can actually do that. Venomancer is one of the few, if not the only, that could have gotten that kill there. Maybe you have like an AoE stun from around the corner, but man, blocking off a path like that, and not only that, 343 with his level 3 Plague Wards are also going to be doing their best to cut the wave. They're going to go deep, look for Lubby, who is going to try to TP out. Luckily for him, he's going to be just fine. Centaur arriving a little bit too late, but Lubby gets to live. The Troll does not, and the tower does not either. So no matter how you slice it, it's a nice victory for CSW. At the same time, 2D's getting free farm up on the top lane. He has to deal with a couple of spiders and the Bounty Hunter occasionally. He might actually go down right now as he gets very far away from his tower. He's going to get the lasso off, getting a lot of Spiderling Gold at the exact same time. He forces Angie away, still being chased down by Freedom. He pops the dust. He will once again limp away with his life. I think he cleared out that whole spider stack as well. So he gets to live. He pops dust, probably breaks even as far as cost is concerned. That is a very clutch escape from 2D, but man, he's going to be happy that that happened.
Very much so. It's going to propel him towards the Blink Dagger. I always hate it when there's spiders or Undyings in the game. Oh, zip down towards bottom. They find Lubby with the Storm Spirit. He's going to be blown up so very easily. Loosen Beam is quite a large amount of damage at this point in the game, but regardless, a lot of CS for the Batrider. 2D is going to find that Blink Dagger maybe a little bit faster than I expected earlier on, but the Death Ball is already being made by CSW. They're going to take a tier 2 tower down towards bottom, and there's nothing that First Departure can do about it.
And this Death Ball isn't even at its scariest. There's only level 2 aura for the Luna, so the damage can increase, and 343 is up on top lane, just holding that lane so that they don't lose any towers, so that 343 can get a little bit more experience to his level 4 Serpent Wards. That is just a small taste of the pushing power of Can't Say Whips right now. It'll increase with the Blink Dagger on Batrider as well, so First Departure, what can they actually do to defend that? Well, they couldn't do anything to defend the bottom lane push, and it seems like they can't really do much to defend anything else. Their only shot, I think, is if Awa is able to grab this Blink, and he is very close to it, but grabbing Blink is only part one. You actually have to use the Blink effectively, and when the Batrider's gonna have to Blink at the exact same time, it's more of a coin flip than a guaranteed initiation for FD.
Yeah, and as I kind of alluded to in the draft, there's just not a lot of follow-up for a Magnus RP. The damage is kind of nice, but their Bounty Hunter is still not level 6, their Rubik's still not level 6, and Troll, although he's doing a decent amount of damage by himself, I really don't think it's enough. They're going to need more time, or the team can actually come online. Broodmother's going to be working towards the Orchid, and we'll find a tier 1 tower up towards top, and that's for sure going to help.
The tier 1 tower, as nice as that is for FD, this Broodmother is going to have to make this tower, this entire lane, her home, and try to outpush the rest of CSW, who just grabbed themselves an Aegis for the Storm Spirit. It's probably very appealing to put it on a Luna at this stage, but Wedding Crash can certainly do a lot more with that double life than a Luna can right now. He's gone for a very balanced build, in fact, almost perfectly so. 3-3-3-1 on Wedding Crash, and he might run into a couple heroes right now. True Sight is there from 2D. Blink Dagger revealed by Freedom. They are going to look in for Angie. Actually wandered into a Sentry Ward, and he will be picked off. Awa's going to jump in for an RP onto 2. Has double damage rune as well, but Hand of God is going to keep 2D alive for right now. Not for long, however, he will go down. Awa, though, not going to be able to escape Wedding Crash. He will go down in exchange. Lubby going to steal Ball Lightning. That's a clean escape for him, and he will use that to get the hell out of there. But it's still a 2-for-1 in favor of Can't Say Whips. And they still have heroes that are alive necessary to actually go for a push. And they catch Freedom up on the high ground. He's dusted. He doesn't have anywhere to run. Is there a pull for Wedding Crash? There isn't, but it doesn't even matter. He'll grab a killing spree regardless. 8-1 in CSW. Their pushing hasn't even started yet. They're already off to a huge lead.
A roaring start for them. Now a full Yasha flying out to the Luna on top of the casual Morbid Mask. Chains is almost battle ready for this time of the game, and it's very scary if you're First Departure. The Bounty Hunter's still not level 6. And really, I don't think this hero has done anything for them. The pick hasn't worked out as they wanted to. I expect they'd want to shut down the Chen's farm, and even though he's not going to have the mech at the greatest of times, it's still going to be serviceable at 15 minutes in on top of Arcanes, and honestly, that's pretty darn good, since he did have a Bounty Hunter roaming through his jungle. Level 8 by no means is Godot shut down.
Yeah, and the mech is going to come at more or less the same point where they want to push, which is exactly what you want to do to begin with. So, whether intentionally or not, the Chen is going to have what he needs when he needs it. And in that sense, the Bounty Hunter so far has been a complete failure. Even if he... Oh, actually, he is level 6. But even if he was level 6, like, 5 minutes ago, would it have actually done that much? Maybe they get an additional Bat Rider kill because they have enough movement speed to give chase, but even that's by no means guaranteed. So... For Can't Say Whips right now, they're still working with this Aegis, though Wedding Crash is down on the bottom lane. Should be up top and looking for a push. They can go for any of these plays, assuming they have the True Sight backup in order to kill any heroes that stand in their path. So for First Archer, they just need to get more farm, and this is the point in time where they're going to have to look for some pickoffs. That's how you delay the push, by killing off the Chen, by killing off the Luna. But I don't see any real openings for them. Maybe the Chen if they were in a better position, but that's about it.
At the moment, the defensive wards coming out from CSW are probably going to put an end to pretty much all of that. There's going to be a Radiant ward placed out in the woods as well, but that's going to be dewarded in no time flat. There's already a sentry on the ground if they as much as come over to that vicinity. Storm Spirit's item of choice. Ooh, hold that thought. Zip down towards bottom. They don't find out the Broodmother. However, she is going to be able to survive. It's going to be an Bloodstone first for Wedding Crash, and he's going to have that very soon. This courier is laden with a lot of net worth, with a point booster, vitality booster, 2 stacks of dust, and sentries. A lot of hate for the Bounty and Broodmother both.
And that's what happens when you pick both the Bounty and Brood. You're up against a ton of detection. It's funny because I think actually this dust and sentry, it's more important for CSW than the items for Wedding Crash, because Wedding Crash is just fine with what he has. Quite honestly, if that's all he had, that would be fine. Of course, that's not the case, but as long as they have sentries, they can make these pushes happen. And it looks like they'll test mid lane for right now. Still, the Venomancer is not involved in this, and that's a little bit surprising, but this is only a tier 1 tower that wasn't exactly healthy to start things off. It should be a very clean kill there. Angie also going to get revealed by Chudy, dragged down to the low ground. Do they have True Sight? Oh, they don't. Oh, wait, no, they do. Someone got it. Yeah, the courier just made his delivery. That'll be enough to kill off the Bounty Hunter. They take down the tower, and then First Departure, Franker's Paws. I don't think AWA has a good opening here. Maybe he gets a Blink Skewer onto Godot, because Wedding Crash is kind of low on mana, but he also has a regen ticking away, and the rest of CSW are right behind this Chen.
Yeah, and there's nothing to stop that regen on the Storm Spirit. He's going to be back up in fit fighting shape, and even if he didn't have the regen, he has an Aegis. Killing off the Storm twice is almost impossible, because I think they'd have to commit their entire payload of disables to kill him off the first time, with Telekinesis and RP both. Unless they get the luckiest of all Troll Bashes, it's probably not happening.
Or they have to make some sort of miracle steal from Lubby, like a lasso. It's a possible steal, is usually when Batriders lasso, their first thing to do is run away. They don't even bother with a sticky napalm, but there's a slight chance of that happening, but even then it's by no means guaranteed. Wedding Crash will be at full mana shortly, and that will also be joined by a Bloodstone. He'll jump right into Kai, stun onto Wedding Crash, lifts it up as well, but taking no damage. Kai, in fact, is taking all the damage in the world. He'll be dropping very quickly. That's one more kill for Can't Say Whips. They're going to mech up and continue on with this push. Broodmother is being a pain in the ass down towards bottom lane, but that's pretty much just what Broodmother does. They're also going to jack a 1, 2, 3 stack, I think, of Ancients from the First Departure side. That's a huge swing in net worth, and they can get that. They'll take the tower, although RP onto 3. Where's the follow-up, though? They'll lose the Storm Spirit Aegis immediately. The Hand of God is going to come out with the Aegis as well. AWA's going to die. Lubby gets in there, but he's not going to last for very long. It's 4 down in favor of Can't Say Whips. Chain's still surviving. Poison damage might do him in. No, it's just the Nova. That's not lethal. Oh, man, that was just a brutal fight for First Departure. Even after such an RP, they just can't get anything done.
So close to being amazing, too. But yeah, it was a good steal from the Rubik. Poison Nova at this point does a truckload of damage, but it just wasn't enough. I don't know. Right now, First Departure, they I bet you they wish they had different heroes. Their bounty hunter is not doing anything for them. And really, the troll just died so quickly. The CSW damage at this point is pretty ridiculous. Test of Faith, I believe, got a high roll of that pure damage, plus the Lucent Beam. And at that point, troll was already down to 200 HP and was just right-clicked down by Chen creeps. It was really brutal to watch. Honestly, I don't think you can ask for a better RP coming out from the Magnus, and it's not that it was playing bad, there's just not any openings. 1-3 and 0 doesn't really reflect his RPs. Whenever he's gotten them, they've been good, but you can't do it by yourself.
And now Wedding Crash has a gem, so the fun is officially now over for this Broodmother. Luckily for her right now, she does have an Orchid. She stands a fighting chance of taking the Storm Spirit in fisticuffs should it come to it, but Wedding Crash is not going to let that come to it. If he jumps in, it's going to be with someone else. And if he sees the Broodmother, if he's going to check the inventory, he'll know what he's going up against. He will be able to escape, even if he does overcommit into a silence. So this bounty hunter has got to watch himself. And so far, 0-4-0 on Angie. Not a single track kill at all, since they just haven't gotten any kills. When was the first kill that they actually had? It was on 2D. That was like years ago, it feels. But yeah, no track gold at all. So yeah, bounty hunter completely useless. They're gonna go for freedom, set up for him at the very least. Ball lightning in. Gem looking for the vision. Freedom now spotted, now not. Although 2D is incoming, has already used his blink dagger, gonna get silenced, but that means Wedding Crash is not silenced. Freedom's gonna die very easily to the combo of CSW's mobility heroes. Maybe they get a kill onto Godot over in mid, but even this Chen is pretty tanky. He's got mech, he's got point booster. They need to land a skewer or an RP. They're going to skewer him away from the ranged axes. Godot's still alive, still has Hand of God. No, he doesn't actually have Hand of God. He will be going down, but Anchi now stuck in the tower. Will be an even trade. Wedding Crash going to arrive, go straight for the mag, pull him out of that TP, and they'll get that kill as well. A 2-for-1 that the Chen is more than happy to take, especially since that has mobilized CSW over in the mid lane, where there's most likely going to be an incoming push.
It was a track kill, and even though they died, Magnus and Bounty get a net gain of gold, but so do everybody on CSW, with the exception being that Chen. And 20 minutes into the game, I don't think you can ask for much more on that hero. They're going to swing up towards top, take a tier 1 tower there, and probably continue on to the tier 2. Mid lane's being pushed out by creeps and a Storm Illusion, not going to do that much damage there, but still, Can't Say Whips are in a really commanding lead in this game with their picks and with just the raw metrics too. And well, with this advantage, they can start just pushing down these towers. I like that they're going for the methodical approach. There's no reason to give First Departure more of a chance than they need to.
Yeah, just get your items up on the Luna, get more items up in the Storm Spirit, and wait until your Chen is actually in full fighting shape. Maybe even wait for the Aegis, which unfortunately for CSW isn't immediately going to spawn. It's another minute until that is up. But they can afford to just chill out and wait for that because they have such a huge Aegis advantage, with the exception being that mag. Everyone else on First Departure is mediocre at fighting in the Roche Pit, whereas you look at Storm Spirit, Venomancer, Bat Rider, even Luna's Eclipse. These are skills that you don't want to be running into if you're First Departure, especially when you're 14 kills down. So this Roshan, when it does respawn, is almost going to be completely impossible for First Departure to contest unless they get something really slick going on with an RP steal of the Aegis. That's, I don't know, it's possible, but it's just unlikely.
Yeah, the good news for First Departure is that if they do turn a fight, kill off like the Luna in the Storm, and have track on them as well, they're going to get a truckload of gold. It's actually accomplishing that. That's the hard part, but if they do, the comeback could be pretty nice for them. Yasha and Helm up for the troll. He's doing a decent amount of damage in his own right. The rest of CSW's heroes are going to be grouped up, taking control of the enemy woods and waiting out this Roshan respawn. It's going to be spotted out by an Alpha Wolf parked there by the Chen.
Right, so they're going to see exactly when it comes up. They'll be able to mobilize on that Roche Pit very, very quickly. First Departure get a couple of precious minutes with which to farm. Kai has a Yasha, has his Helm of the Dominator, and working on what I assume to be a BKB. Maybe a Sanjin Yasha? I don't know. I mean, the First Departure side just needs so much more farm right now. As broken as it is to have Empower on a Troll Warlord, it's just not enough when he's the only one doing damage, and he's not even doing as much damage as the enemy Luna, who is going for evasion. Talisman is up. I don't know if you go straight Butterfly right now for chains, but it doesn't even matter because bottom line, he will have very, very large spendy items in his inventory, and he will also potentially have an Aegis, although I do still think Wedding Crash should take this one.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Luna upgrade to the Helm of the Dominator. I think it's one of the best value items in the game, and even if you don't want to control the creep yourself, why not just give another one to the Chen? Oh, long zip in, just to be farming up, but never mind. Storm Spirit with a double damage rune is a force to be reckoned with for the next couple of seconds, but regardless, Chains is pretty much stacked. Troll Ultimate's going to be used as he farms up a handful of Ancients. This is some economic, or some economy running for first departure, excuse me. But it's not enough. They really haven't been in any position to take any threats. Oh, poor Bounty Hunter gets blown up inside the Radiant Woods. Nowhere for him to hide.
Probably Observer Ward not worth it. I don't even know why you would place an Observer Ward there. Like, it's nice, I guess, to see the Chen jungling, and that opens up some doors, but really, first departure, they're on the defensive. They're almost completely on the defensive, and therefore they need defensive wards. That ward is most likely just not going to do anything except for get Bounty Hunter killed. So 0-6-1 now for the Bounty, and CSW with this Aegis still not going to ball up and just go for this Doom push. I would have expected them to go for it a lot sooner. I don't think there's been a push with all 5 of them, or all 4 of them, everyone minus the Venomancer, or minus the Batrider. They're gonna catch Freedom though. Why do you keep calling X Freedom? He will get dragged right back. Gem is up on Wedding Crash, and there's no way you escape as the Broodmother. He'll die to the Flame Break. Now 18-2 in favor of Can't Say Whips, and they're just like feeding off of these first departure heroes. FD gonna look to break this with a smoke from Mag and Troll. They might run into Chains, but no, Chains already very far away. They might run into the Venomancer, which is an easier kill, but even Venomancer is level 2 ult and a level 3 Gale. If he lands that before the CSW side can lock him, before the first departure side can lock him down, this Venomancer can get a couple of kills in response.
I honestly don't think that Can't Say Whips are hurting their chances of winning this game by slowing down the pace a little bit. Bounty Hunter's going to track up the Venomancer, but now dusted up, and with a gem on the Storm Spirit, he's going to be brought down. Another Bloodstone charge for Wedding Crash, and another death for the Bounty. It really seems that that's all he's been doing. Tochi Tower in mid, going to be dropped down by the Chen creeps, and honestly, this is probably the perfect Chen creeps for a push here. Maybe replace one Centaur for a Troll, but outside of that, they're going to go for the high ground push, and why not too? It's going to be dropped down so very quickly with the extra damage that they're getting from the Alpha Wolf as well as the Luna. They are going to lose a handful of these Chen creeps, but Blink in Lasso pulling back the Troll. Not very far, however, he does get lifted up. The counter initiation for the Rubik is pretty nice. Tier 3 Tower is still surviving. Pump Fake on the RP is going to be dropped down by the Magnus. Everybody from Can't Say Whips is going to be able to make it out cleanly.
Lasso's down, Chen creeps are down. First departure, don't lose any structures right now, but I don't even know if they could call that a victory since the Aegis and Storm Spirit is still up, and Venomancer, once again, just wasn't in that fight. I don't think 343 has pushed anything with these Plague Wards, but eventually he'll get there. CSWs have 2 minutes left with this Aegis, most likely not going to get value, but now they have a Butterfly on Luna. Are you kidding me? This is going to be so difficult for First Departure to actually kill this hero off. Godot is going to reload his army with significantly worse creeps, 2 Hellbears and a Satyr. It's not really what you want. The Swiftness Aura is nice, but that's about it. CSW, they're just going to dominate the enemy jungle, and if anyone decides to wander in, there's a Blink from the Batrider waiting for them. There's an Eclipse that CSW haven't used in quite a long time, now level 3, and of course Wedding Crash, who's ready to just go off. There's not much that First Departure can do to break themselves out of this, except for look for isolated targets, and look at the isolated targets available right now. Godot's with Chains, that's not really viable. Venomancer, very vulnerable, that's the only one that they could really take, as Wedding Crash still has that Aegis, top lane Batrider has 4 staff Blink. There's not many openings here for FD.
Then again, even though Chen's creeps are immediately a downgrade, he's going to get a big upgrade here as he gets the Aghanim Scepter. And then you get the most broken creep in the game. The Ancient Granite Golem is absurd. That extra 15% HP bonus for the Storm Spirit and the Luna is going to be pretty crazy. Although I'd probably look to see him replace Hellbear up towards top, zipping from the Storm, start blinking from the Bat. In the end, everybody's going to be able to make it out, as going 2v5 is probably a little bit overzealous. Well, I say 2v5, I mean 2v4. Freedom isn't involved, he's a Broodmother.
Especially when you know that your Aegis is going to be timing out soon, and you're holding on to a gem. You don't want to end up getting Aegis screwed, and then you lose your gem, and then, I mean, you could probably buy another one. It won't really hurt Can't Say Whips that much. You'd rather not lose it if you don't have to. They let the Troll walk, but Troll got jumped by 2 damage, kind of low-ish damage heroes from Can't Say Whips. At the very least, Luna wasn't there. Even Venomancer is a substantial damage dealer at this stage in the game. He's 309 with level 2 ulti and maxed out Gale. That's thousands of magic damage right there. So can't say Whips, they are eventually going to mobilize. They're not going to get that much use of this Aegis, but still, the top lane tier 2, it's prime for the taking right now, and FD, their Broodmother, is in no position to split push at all.
No, not really. She's gone for more of a fighting build, work it into what looks like a BKB, but really there's just no no place that's safe for freedom. There we go. With the Storm Spirit with the gem on the enemy side, can't say Whips, even though they're really far ahead, and they probably could be looking to take fights and win, there's no reason for them to, since they have better late game and they're controlling the map so well. Currently sitting on upwards of a 15,000 net worth advantage and 20,000 experience advantage, there's no reason for them to risk losing it. Why not just keep up the pressure? They know that they have at least a good shot inside the late game, especially with such a stacked Luna.
I think it's really just looking at the graph that spells out everything. Even if you like remove those little blips that signify when can't say Whips get kills, like in between those blips, it's still a lot more net worth and experience going their way. Obviously, if you're not getting kills and you're getting more gold and experience, you're farming better. You're getting more gold on more heroes by just controlling that map, and therefore you're going to reach that late game stage before First Departure even have a chance. So that's, you know, everything what you said represented in visual form. So yeah, CSW, they're in prime position in this game, and FD, I guess you never count out a team with a mag, because the Miracle RPs are real. He already did get a pretty nice RP previously, just not good enough. And Godot, with that Aghanim Scepter, almost has another Persuasion. He's going to have to steal Thunderhide. It's mediocre, I would say. Frenzy is actually pretty sick when you're going for tower sieges, but still, these creeps are going to be substantially upgraded, as you said, and when that happens, FD, I don't even know if they'll have enough damage to kill off Chen's creeps, especially with Hand of God and Mechanism backup.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. We're paused for the time being, but I think at this time, First Departure kind of rely on a Miracle RP with an empowered Troll behind it. If Troll is empowered with his ultimate activated and they do get like the 3-4-man Dream RP, I can see a fight turning around for them, but anything short of that, and it's probably not going to happen, it's going to be Magnus forced to overperform here. If First Departure want a chance of staying inside the MPGL, and even if can't say Whips win this, they are on the back foot. This is the lower bracket, and going into the finals of the qualifiers, you are down one game. The upper bracket does have a 1-game advantage.
Yeah, so it's the next game. Whoever is going to win is up against 5 Eva, and they'll be starting off 0-1 in a best of 3. So already it's not really where you want to be, but they already got their chance. Wedding Crash. He is out of mana, and that's lucky for the Bounty Hunter until Chains comes around the corner. Awa has a chance here to make something happen, although Tootie's also coming in. Already used the Blink Dagger, however. Hasten or not, just can't get there close enough. But can't say Whips, they're mobilizing in the mid lane. They're mobilizing hard. 343 is also in the area this time. Finally can get some Plague Ward action going. Also, maybe with that ultimate get some kills, but Aegis is going to be reclaimed right before this push really gets going. But still, Wedding Crash is 2,000 HP plus a Eul Scepter for safety. I don't really see him going down unless it's in that RP. Chain's going to let loose with those illusions. Look at the Glaives bounce. Look at it go. RP, though, onto 2. Immediate Eul Scepter, though, and Kai gets lassoed out of his initiation with the Nova as well as the Eclipse. That's 2 down instantly. First Departure going to buy back for their Troll Warlord, but this may very well be game. They're going to jump forward for the Broodmother. Freedom going to land, get bumped down to the low ground, but he'll die anyway to the beam. Raxes are taken, and CSW are going to plow their way through First Departure. They dismantled them. This was a devastating game. I don't know if there was any point in the game where First Departure had any sort of anything going for them.
Yeah, it was a surgical execution. I loved their draft. It was well executed too. Their play and their picks really shined, and the same can't be said for First Departure. When you do have a disadvantage with a draft and you are so reliant on getting those pickoffs and you can't get that momentum, I don't know, I think the game is just lost from there on out. Let's see if Can't Say Whips are going to be able to carry this through to the victory in the finals, because that's where they're heading, going against 5 Eva soon.
Right, guys, we're going to be going on to that game as soon as it gets live. I'm Mikelorus, I've been joined by Grandisv, and we will be right back for the finals of the qualifiers to see who will actually qualify. We'll be right back.